Welcome, listeners, to another episode of The Unseen Shop, where the veil between the living and the dead is lifted, revealing the untold stories that linger in the shadows. I'm your host, Herodotus. In today's episode, we delve deep into the heart of London's most enigmatic establishment, The Unseen Shop. Here, within walls steeped in secrets and time, the shopkeeper, a keeper of lost stories and silent whispers, faces a revelation that challenges the very fabric of his existence. Join us as we unravel a tale of mystery and discovery, where the past and present intertwine, and where a simple task unfolds into a journey of self-realization. In a place where spirits seek solace and the unseen are seen, our shopkeeper confronts truths that lie buried beneath forgotten graves. So dim the lights, settle in, and let the echoes of the unseen shop reveal the hidden threads that bind the living to the whispers of the departed. This is a story of time, identity, and the unbreakable bonds that transcend the realms.
As twilight draped its melancholy shroud over London, the shop seemed to resonate with a silence more profound than usual. I stood there, behind the counter laden with relics of forgotten times, pondering over the arbiter's recent visit. His words, an echo of judgment and scrutiny, lingered in the air like a persistent fog. The gentle ringing of the shop's bell pierced the quietude, signalling an arrival. This time, it wasn't one of the spectral visitors I was accustomed to, but rather him, the supplier. He appeared in the doorway, an enigmatic silhouette, his aura as mysterious as the myriad of artifacts nestled within the shop's walls.
"Good evening,"
He greeted, his voice a smooth blend of knowledge and hidden depths.
"I see the weight of the arbiter's gaze lies heavy upon you, shopkeeper."
I nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and apprehension. Indeed, it does. The balance I strive to maintain feels more like a tightrope these days. The supplier stepped further inside, his eyes scanning the shop with an air of familiarity.
"Balance is a fickle thing. It demands as much as it gives,"
He remarked, his gaze settling on an ancient clock whose hands moved in a rhythm known only to itself. I couldn't help but marvel at his understanding. You seem well versed in the intricacies of our exchange,
"A necessity.
he replied, his eyes meeting mine.
The objects I procure, the relics and artifacts that pass through my hands, they're not mere trinkets. They are steeped in the essence of both our realms."
His words hinted at a knowledge profound and ancient. The supplier was more than a mere collector or trader. He was a connoisseur of the arcane, a bridge between the tangible and the ethereal. Speaking of which, I began tentatively, there's a matter that requires your expertise. He raised an eyebrow, a silent invitation to continue. A spirit recently sought my help, I explained. Their peace hinges on an artifact that eludes my grasp, one I believe you might be able to procure. The supplier listened, his expression unreadable.
"And what might this artifact be?"
He inquired, his interest piqued. It's an amulet, ancient and imbued with a story that's as tragic as it is powerful. Its last known whereabouts are lost in the sweeps of time, I said, feeling the weight of the task. He considered this for a moment.
"I might be able to assist, however, such aid comes at a price,"
he warned, his tone serious, yet not unkind. I knew the price wouldn't be in coin. I understand. What would you ask of me in return?
"3 things.
He stated.
A favor to be called upon when needed. Knowledge, a piece of lore hidden even from your extensive reach. And lastly, your time, for dealing with me has its own consequences."
I felt a chill at his words. Time, when dealing with the likes of the supplier, was a currency that bore its own burdens. Agreed, I said, knowing full well the gravity of this accord. For the sake of the spirit seeking solace, I accept your terms. The supplier nodded, the faintest hint of a smile playing on his lips.
Very well, shopkeeper. Let us begin this exchange of services and secrets.
As he spoke, the air in the shop shifted, as if the very walls were leaning in to listen. I realized then that this was more than just a transaction. It was a dance along the razor's edge, separating our worlds, a testament to the unspoken covenant that governed beings like us. And so, under the watchful gaze of relics and bygone whispers, our dialogue continued, weaving through the complexities of our existence, a tapestry of the seen and the unseen. The soft glow of the shop's lamps cast elongated shadows across the walls, enveloping us in an ambience befitting our conversation. The supplier, with an air of contemplation, settled into an antique chair opposite the counter.
Before we delve deeper, shopkeeper, tell me,
He began, his eyes reflecting a curiosity that seemed as old as time itself.
how did you come to be the guardian of such a place as this? Rarely does one stumble upon such a role without a tale of their own.
His question, unexpected yet not unwelcome, nudged the edges of my own history, a narrative I kept closely guarded. I inherited this role, much like one inherits a legacy they never sought. The previous keeper saw in me a potential I hadn't realized, a vision to see beyond the veil.
And your life before? The life amongst the living?
His inquiry was gentle, yet it probed into corners of my past I seldom visited. A life of searching without knowing what I sought. A scholar, perhaps, in my own right, drawn to the mysteries that dance just beyond reach, I shared, the words tasting of long-forgotten memories. The supplier nodded, as if my response was a piece fitting neatly into a puzzle he held.
And now you find yourself here at the crossroads of worlds. A fitting outcome, I'd say.
The conversation shifted as he leaned forward, his voice lowering to a tone that carried the weight of secrets.
This artifact you seek, it's not merely an object of spiritual significance. It's a key, a bridge between what is seen and what is hidden.
His words echoed through the shop, stirring the air with a sense of revelation. A bridge, I echoed, my interest piqued.
Yes,
He confirmed.
it's believed to unlock deeper truths about the connection between our realms, truths that some might find unsettling.
A silence settled between us, heavy with implication. The nature of this artifact was more complex and dangerous than I had anticipated. It wasn't just about aiding a spirit, it was about uncovering a facet of the unknown. And you can procure this artifact? I asked, a mix of apprehension and necessity colouring my tone.
I can,
He affirmed.
but the knowledge you must provide in return, it must be of equal depth and rarity.
I nodded, understanding the balance of this exchange. I will share what I can, though I fear the depths you seek might be beyond my current reach.
Perhaps,
He said, a mysterious glimmer in his eyes.
but the act of seeking such knowledge might unveil paths previously hidden to you.
The conversation turned to the nature of the favour he would demand. His request was shrouded in ambiguity, a task to be named at a time of his choosing. It was an unsettling commitment, yet one I was prepared to honour. As our dialogue wound its way through the complexities of our existence, I couldn't help but feel a profound sense of crossing into uncharted territories. The supplier, with his enigmatic knowledge and cryptic manner, was a guide of sorts, leading me to confront truths I had yet to fully grasp. Our exchange continued, a dance of words and revelations beneath the watchful gaze of the shop's ancient inhabitants. Outside, the world of the living carried on, oblivious to the profound insights being unravelled within the walls of the shop. In the heart of the unseen shop, amidst artifacts that bore silent witness to our exchange, the air seemed to thicken with anticipation. The supplier's presence, enigmatic as ever, filled the space with a gravity that spoke of unvoiced promises and hidden truths.
You understand the gravity of what you're delving into?
The supplier's question hung in the air, a soft but potent challenge. I paused, feeling the weight of his words. I do. This is more than just aiding a spirit. It's a journey into the very essence of what binds our worlds. He nodded, a subtle acknowledgement of my understanding.
Indeed, the artifact you seek holds secrets that are ancient and profound. Its retrieval will not be without its trials.
A sense of resolve steadied my voice. I am prepared. The spirit's peace and the balance it brings is worth the journey, no matter how arduous. The supplier's eyes, ancient pools of knowledge, seemed to look right through me.
Very well. But be warned, the path you embark upon may alter your perception of both life and death. Are you ready to embrace what you may uncover?
I am, I replied, though a part of me hesitated at the threshold of this unknown venture.
Then listen carefully.
He began, his voice dropping to a whisper that seemed to resonate with the hidden corners of the shop.
The artifact is not merely lost in location, but in time. To retrieve it, you must be willing to delve into the echoes of the past, to a moment where the veil between our realms was torn asunder.
His words painted a vivid tapestry of a time long gone, a moment of convergence between the living and the dead. I listened, transfixed, as he described the artifact's last known whereabouts, a place shrouded in mystery and guarded by forces that defied easy understanding. The supplier's narrative was not just an instruction, it was a warning, a map to a treasure laden with dangers untold. I felt the shop itself listen, the very walls and shelves leaning in to absorb the tale of the artifact. As he spoke, I realized that this was more than a mere transaction or a favor. It was a test, a challenge that would demand all my skill and understanding as the keeper of the unseen shop. The end of our conversation approached, the moment where knowledge and commitment would intertwine.
Once you have the artifact,
The supplier concluded.
bring it here. Only within these walls can its true nature be safely revealed.
I nodded. A silent pact sealed between us. The knowledge he imparted was a key, one that would unlock both the artifact's resting place and, perhaps, deeper truths about the realms we inhabited.
Remember, shopkeeper,
He said, his voice a blend of caution and intrigue.
what you uncover may change more than just the fate of one spirit. It may change you.
With those final words, he vanished as mysteriously as he had appeared, leaving me alone with the aftermath of our conversation and the impending journey that lay ahead. The shop, once a haven of quiet certainty, now felt like the starting point of a journey into uncharted realms, a doorway to secrets that bridged the living and the dead. As the dim light of the unseen shop cast long, contemplative shadows across its ancient contents, I found myself grappling with the implications of the supplier's request. The artifact, a key to the enigmatic bond between the living and the dead, was said to be located in an old cemetery, a place where the veil between worlds was rumoured to be at its thinnest. The thought of venturing to a cemetery, especially under such mysterious circumstances, sent a shiver down my spine. It wasn't the dead that unnerved me. I had grown all too familiar with their presence in my shop. It was the unknown nature of the task, the unspoken risks that might lurk in the shadows of the tombstones and crypts. With each passing hour, as I prepared for my nocturnal visit, the gravity of the supplier's warnings weighed heavily on my mind. His words about the consequences of time resonated with a foreboding sense of inevitability. What did he know of my fate that I did not? I pondered over the nature of the favor he would ask in return. The supplier was no ordinary being. His requests were bound to be as complex and unpredictable as his character. And the knowledge he sought, what secrets did he expect me to unveil in the depths of that cemetery? I gathered a small lantern and a cloak, the fabric heavy upon my shoulders, much like the burden of my undertaking. Stepping out into the night, I felt a chill that wasn't entirely due to the cold air. It was a chill of anticipation, of crossing into a realm that I, as the keeper of the unseen shop, knew all too well, yet never ceased to find daunting. As night cloaked the city in its silent embrace, I made my way to the cemetery. The gates loomed before me, iron and ancient, groaning softly as I pushed them open. The moon, a thin crescent in the sky, cast a pale light over the sprawling expanse of graves and monuments. The journey to the cemetery was a contemplative one. The city's sleeping streets lay deserted, the usual cacophony of life silenced by the hour. As I walked, my thoughts turned inward, reflecting on the nature of my existence. Was I merely a conduit for the spirits, a mediator between realms? Or was there something more to my role, something the supplier and the arbiter understood that I did not? Reaching the cemetery gates, I paused. The iron bars, ornate and rusted, stood like ancient guardians to a world forgotten by time. Pushing them open, the creak of metal seemed loud in the hushed world, a proclamation of my entrance into this sacred space. The lantern cast dancing shadows upon the path as I made my way through the maze of tombstones and mausoleums. The air was thick with the scent of moss and earth, the essence of a place eternally bound to the past. I could feel the presence of those long gone, their whispers just beyond the edge of hearing, their stories etched into the very stones that marked their final resting places. As I delved deeper into the cemetery, a profound sense of connection enveloped me. Here, amidst the memorials to lives once lived, I was acutely aware of the delicate balance I maintained every day in the shop. Each grave, each inscription, was a reminder of the fleeting nature of existence, of the stories left behind, waiting to be heard. Finally, I reached the older part of the cemetery, where time seemed to stand still. The moon, a slender crescent, cast a gentle glow over the forgotten graves, their markers worn and obscured by the passage of years. My heart beat with a mixture of reverence and trepidation as I searched for the artifact. The supplier had spoken of its power, of its ability to bridge the realms. But what would that mean for me? For the spirits I aided? For the very fabric of the shop itself? Lost in my thoughts, I barely noticed the gradual change in the atmosphere around me. The air grew colder, the shadows deeper, as if the cemetery itself was responding to my quest. It was as though I was being drawn, inexorably, towards a truth that lay hidden in the heart of this sacred ground. And there, in a secluded corner veiled by weeping willows, I felt a pull, a call that resonated with the core of my being. Stepping closer, lantern held high, I prepared to uncover the artifact that held the key to so much unanswered. The unseen shop, my sanctuary and burden, seemed a world away in that moment. Here, in the silent embrace of the cemetery, I stood on the brink of discovery, unaware of how deeply it would shake the foundations of everything I knew. Under the spectral light of the moon, I stood in the forgotten corner of the cemetery, where ancient willows wept silent tears into the night. My lantern cast a quivering glow on a solitary grave, one that seemed to call out to me from the annals of time and shadow. As I approached, a sense of profound disquiet settled over me. The air grew denser, charged with an energy that I could neither escape nor fully comprehend. My hand trembled slightly as I brushed away the overgrowth, revealing the weathered tombstone. The inscription on the grave, eroded by time yet still legible, struck me like a physical blow. There, etched in the cold stone, was my name, accompanied by dates that framed my own existence. The revelation that I stood before my own grave, a monument to a life I had once lived, sent a torrent of emotions crashing through me. Confusion, fear, and an overwhelming sense of surrealism washed over me. Questions raced through my mind, each more baffling than the last. How could this be? Am I not alive? Was my role as the shopkeeper tied to this grave, to a life that had seemingly ended, yet continued in the realm of the shop? I struggled to piece together the fragmented thoughts, to make sense of this impossible reality. The supplier's words about time and consequences echoed in my mind, suggesting a deeper, more intricate connection between my existence and the artifact I sought. As I stood there, lost in a sea of tumultuous thoughts, a familiar presence emerged from the shadows. The arbiter, his figure a blend of authority and enigma, approached with silent steps.
Understanding dawns, does it not, shopkeeper?
His voice, a blend of gravitas and empathy, resonated with the night. I faced him, my emotions a whirlwind of turmoil and revelation. My grave. How is this possible? What does this mean? The arbiter regarded me with an inscrutable gaze.
Your existence, shopkeeper, is bound to more than just the physical realm. You are a bridge, a custodian of stories that transcend life and death. This grave marks not your end, but a transformation, a passage into the role you now hold.
His words, though cryptic, began to illuminate the shadows of my understanding. The shop, with all its spirits and artifacts, was more than a mere place of business. It was a nexus, a point where the lines of life and death intersected, and I, its keeper, was integral to its purpose. "The artifact," I began, my voice steadier as acceptance took root. "Is it a key to my past?"
In a way,
the arbiter replied.
it is a remnant of your transition, a piece of the puzzle that is your existence. In seeking it, you delve into the very essence of your being.
As the night deepened around us, a sense of resolution enveloped me. The shock of discovering my own grave gave way to an understanding of my unique place in the stream of existence. The unseen shop, with all its mysteries and responsibilities, was not just my charge. It was a part of me, a reflection of a journey that spanned the realms of life and death. With a nod to the arbiter, a silent acknowledgement of the journey ahead, I turned to leave his presence. The night air felt different now, imbued with a newfound purpose and clarity. I felt behind me. The arbiter's figure faded into the night, leaving me to ponder the mysteries of my existence and the role I was destined to play. The journey ahead was uncertain, but I was ready to embrace it, to uncover the truths hidden in the shadows of the unseen shop, whether alive or not.